Hello and welcome to 5 Year Club video number 281. It's a good day to talk about the S&P 500. Why? Because it went up quite a bit. We haven't recovered the dip yet, but we're on our way. The dip most recently that was pretty shocking. It was about 4.8%, which for this period of time, for the 5 days or 3 days that it occurred over, is quite a bit. And there's we've talked about this before, but there's a mathematical consequence to dropping, and that is that the percentage you need to recover, or the percentage that you need to grow after the drop in order to recover the money from the drop, or recover the value, it's not really money until you sell, is always going to be larger than whatever the percentage of the drop was, because that percentage of the drop is a percentage of the big number that you started at, and the percentage of the gain you need to make is a percentage of that smaller number that you have fallen to. So in this case, 4.8% drop, 5.044% lift is needed according to the numbers in my portfolio. My portfolio given is the Betterment portfolio for the most part, although I added a bunch of just pure S&P 500 or pure VTI. And the result is that I've got I'm not straight S&P 500. I've got this foreign stock in my portfolio, this foreign index stuff, and that essentially means that sometimes I do worse than the S&P 500, sometimes I do better than the S&P 500, but I'm just not exactly quite there. So yeah, this is what I've been looking at tonight. On the net worth side, I'm kind of almost back up, but that's mainly because I got a paycheck also. So, some of that paycheck is marked for spending. And then on the investment side, I'm probably about halfway back in terms of actual recovery, because getting paychecks to cover losses in the stock market doesn't really work. I didn't change any of my investments during this time period. The reason why I'm talking about it tonight is because it is a real world example of a very typical behavior in the stock market, which is that most days I would say the market moves less than 1%, certainly less than 2%. On the days when it does fall, and the weeks when it does fall significantly more, the pattern is over time typically is that it's here, it falls dramatically, and that scares people. And then it slowly recovers later to a level that's higher than it was before. And this is a terrible pattern for human psychology, because that sudden fall is going to shock and upset people, and people are more worried about loss than they are eager for gain. This is a studied behavioral economics concept. People fear loss more than they anticipate gain. And as a result, when that big drop happens, people are going to be very scared, and they're going to pull money out of their portfolio because they're afraid of an even larger drop that could follow it. However, when people get these incremental gains later on that end up, winning for them, they get used to those incremental gains, because they happen day after day, and it's just a small little bump every single day. And because you get used to stimuli that happen over and over again, you don't really appreciate the gain psychologically. So psychologically, the loss, you appreciate that. I mean, you don't literally appreciate it, but you're oh, that was definitely a loss. The gain, though, you're yeah, the stock market's moving. You don't care as much. And that causes you to pay too much attention to the loss and not enough attention to the gains. And that causes people to get out of the stock market at the worst time. And so I thought it's valuable for us to sit here and talk about in a boring way, yep, this is what volatility looks like, and the stock market is volatile. It's profitable over long periods of time, but up close on a day-to-day basis, this is what it looks like. It looks volatile, and it doesn't feel very good during those weeks when you see some big drops. When it comes back, it does feel good, but it's not back yet. So you kind of have to trust in the long game to make this work. What else should I say? The same thing I say in every video, Pinky. Save some money. Seriously, set aside some money. If your bank account is looking pretty flush right now because you got a paycheck recently, grab a big chunk of that money and put it somewhere where you will not spend it. Start putting pressure on yourself now at this time of the month when your rent check is still pretty far away, when your beginning of the month expenses are pretty far away. And when you have more options and more dollars in your bank account, go ahead and put pressure on yourself now to be thrifty. Be proactive about it, rather than, coming upon August 27th and thinking like, I wonder what's in the back of the cabinet. All my money's gone. Now is the easiest time to do the right thing and save some money. And that is like, saving money is the key to this whole deal. It really is, because the investing part is pretty boring, The investing part is basically if you just stick your money in the S&P 500 for 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, 85% of the time, 10 years, you're going to come out ahead. So I don't have a lot of technical mumbo jumbo to talk to you about tonight. That part's pretty easy. The hard part is convincing yourself 24 times a year, every single paycheck, don't spend it. Don't pay attention to that new Apple Watch ad. Don't pay attention to that new phone ad. Instead, take that big chunk of money and stick it into investment, stick it into savings, pay off student loan debt, pay off your mortgage, whatever it is that you need to do, wherever it is that you are in that baby step process. Even if it seems really far away to get debt free, even if it seems really far away to get any appreciable amount of savings, you have to do it anyway. It's the only way it works. I've been through hundreds of paychecks now where I've saved a substantial amount of it. And I still remember very clearly the beginning of the process where things did not seem like they were moving. And I just did it anyway. And now things definitely seem like they're moving. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty great. But I'm still saving the money. A, because I'm used to it. And B, because I really am convinced that this works. Sitting down with yourself and saying, self, we're going to plan our lives to put away money instead of spending it. It really works. You save more and more over time. You earn more and more over time. Your debts go away. Your net worth grows. And money ceases to be a problem. That's pretty cool. All right, well, that is it for video number 281. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you will save some money and have a fabulous evening.